This is ongoing for years now.
Okay, so we are live now. Thank you everybody for coming. We've got the meeting minutes from September 30th.
Yes.
Move to accept as written.
Motion from Alan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Jamie. Anybody have any comments, concerns, clarifications? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so that's unanimous.
You did.
Should be able to get it right with cut
I'm
and
gonna
paste.
jump a little out of order and jump down to number 4 first, because we have Mr. Burrington here.
Okay.
Alan, hi, I'm Adam. I was supposed
How
to
you
call you
doing?
about 3.5 weeks ago when I got your number from Debbie. So I
him,
apologize.
her, you a little bit, him, Courtney.
Okay. So we got,
Her.
we got Alan Bailey here in the corner, he's the
Yeah, I know
secretary.
Alan.
Okay, and then Jamie,
Hi,
and then Tara.
Tara, I know.
You know you.
I know Debbie.
Okay, so that's Al Burrington, oh,
Never
Steve, I'm
met.
sorry,
Steve.
that's Steve Obert.
Nice to meet you.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, so this is Al Burrington, he's expressed interest in joining the committee, so, we had 2 other people express interest in March, and then they lost the election, and then I reached out to them in August and September and October. Spoke to one of them, and he said, oh yeah, absolutely, and then he never got back to me. So, we have a vacancy, anybody, Al, if you're definitely interested, we can appoint you tonight.
I'm sick of spending money.
All right, perfect.
Oh,
Sounding
right.
gonna fit right in.
Might wanna leave after you get appointed.
I've already seen enough, I can walk up the door now.
You don't wanna be here tonight.
So, if anyone wants to make the motion, or has any questions before making the motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, motion from Steve to appoint Al Burrington from now until the March elections,
Or until I leave.
or until, if you quit sooner, yeah, absolutely.
There's no way out.
Seconded from Tara. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, unanimous. Congratulations, thank you.
She didn't say anything.
She doesn't vote.
You know, yeah.
They're not,
They
they're
just
here
sit there.
to give answers.
Yeah.
All right, so that's taken care of, and thank you again for. So, we will jump right into the budget so we can get going. We've got water sewer here, and we've got Chairman Mike Leclerc and Commissioner Courtney
Girl Scouts again?
Davis. So Mike, what we usually do is we go line by line.
That's my first question.
If anybody has questions, they'll kind of, not yell them out, but they'll ask them, and any response you can give us would be great. So take it away, Mike.
Okay, I'll just kind of recap what I had watched the meeting between the select board and the water and sewer. I wasn't present for that, I was traveling. So basically, there's an increase of approximately just over $100,000 from last year, and just about half of that is, this is probably not the right term, but human resources, right? So, there's some salary changes in there, and then there's the cost of, some of the healthcare and social security and that sort of benefit package that goes along with that. Mike,
Could you speak up so this end of the table?
Yep, sorry.
Thank you.
So part of that $100,000 increase, or a good portion of it, almost half of it is in relation to salaries and benefits packages. So, we got some updated numbers from Jeremy a few weeks ago and plugged those in, and that was a big portion of where the increase came from. The rest is a lot of small things that just added up. We did make some adjustments in here to, DES has asked us to staff the facility in a certain way with a certain number of people, and with a long conversation and a lot of talk, with the current staff down there, we think we can do it with some part-time positions instead of hiring another licensed operator, and just kind of promote from within in the time frame that's allowed to us by the DES. So that was able to, we were quite over before making those adjustments. And then again, really the rest of it is just some, you know, cost of goods gone up and some additional staffing that we don't currently have that we hope to have in place sometime in 2025.
Alright, so that's the high level, and now we'll go, so the commissioners' salaries, I can answer some of these as I go too, so there's 5 commissioners, that's the combined salary right there. That, they're not asking for an increase. Superintendent salary, obviously that's a huge increase. Mike, if you wanna explain why that went from $1 to 103,000?
Yeah, so, we've taken on, well, we've gotten someone, we've been lucky enough to get someone back, that, has been able to fill a couple roles for us in the interim before we can get them help. And, you know, ideally, this is, you know, unfortunately for us, unfortunately for him, this is kind of the going rate for someone of that caliber with the licensing and can do all the data entry and all that stuff as well. The small increase from, well, you know, this reflects a 3% increase, which I hope is enough for cost of living. The last time I looked it up, it was about 3.5 for this year, I believe, but that's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense for everybody, but to basically, to get the right person back into the seat, this is what compensation looks like for that individual.
Questions from members, Deb?
Oh, no.
Oh, my hand went up.
I do.
Yeah, Al?
That seems like an awful lot of money for a small town of 2,000 people, when the city of Keene doesn't pay that kind of money for their superintendent of public works of a city of 20,000+.
I guess that would depend on how many people underneath him he has. I'm kind of asking quite a bit for this, and to be honest, we've had another ad out and have gotten 0 replies for something similar to that. Just,
I understand that,
Yeah.
but that's a lot of money for a small town, especially in Troy.
yeah, I agree as a resident, as someone trying to work through this.
Because I worked in the city of Keene for 30 years in the water department, and I know the water and sewer superintendent didn't make that kind of money. And we had 8 or 10 guys under him.
I think that's part of it. He's got a lot of support underneath him in that case. I will say this, that at our meeting for rate increase with DES, they made it clear during that meeting that this was not enough. So
They must live in a pipe dream then.
I would agree with you 100%, and they said it directly in front of the superintendent.
This town can't
so-
afford any more than that.
Well, this is, I mean, a lot of this is based off of rates, so it's not necessarily taxpayers paying this in general, although the question does come up at some point on whether or not taxation. Yeah, let me back up. When I research other towns do decide that this is a asset to the town and do request some taxation for non-users at some point, but we're trying to stay 100%.
I mean, I get the town's in a pickle where you're not getting anybody to come apply for this position, so he's in a good position to get this kind of money. I understand that. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Good for him, but that's a lot of money.
And I can share from the DES meeting too, that when we were saying, well, we're gonna put out for another operator, a licensed operator, no supervisory experience or responsibilities or anything. And we said, you know, is like 75 where you start? And they're like, well, it's kinda low. That's just for somebody with just the licensing now. It's
But
just,
you gotta look at the other towns similar to the town of Troy and what their base pay is. That's my point. How many other towns are paying that kind of money for a town of this size?
If we look at, if we compare lagoon style wastewater treatment facilities with about 500 or less customers, I guess our operating budget is below average. So
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, as long as I get what you're saying, but I don't know how else we fill this role
Well, we did try to go third party with this.
Yeah,
So
which was-
we didn't, we
Three
just didn't
times.
jump into paying this kind of money to the superintendent without going through third
Oh, I
party.
get it.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, that was,
Nobody
that
wants
was
to
six
cut-
figures, high six figures, plus the repairs to the system, plus the chemicals. These were just operators. So.
I get
mean,
that.
I mean, it's a big number. I'm not gonna disagree with that at all, but it's, I personally made phone calls to other sewer plants, and, most of these guys know each other, and.
I'm sure they do.
And, you know, so I was feeling them out, didn't throw any numbers out there, and they all said, you know, that this is about $20,000 cheaper than what they would hire it for.
What's the education level of this person? What are they required to have? I know that you're talking about licenses
Well,
and
he's
things
got-
like that, but
I-
what is
I-
like,
as
what is
far
the
as-
training?
Further schooling, I can't answer that question. As far
But
as
that's great, too.
licensing, he's got, the institutional knowledge of the system here is worth huge too. Like, he knows where every curb stop is in this town. He knows the whole system. He learned, he came from Keene to the system, and that's where he got all his licensing, is on this system. So to hire somebody in here, I don't think that we would have hired somebody at this number, anybody else, other than this person, because of the knowledge he has. He can get a phone call tonight and say, we have a major break right here, and he knows right where to go to shut the system down.
Mhm.
If there's something going on, you know,
So
it
he
is a big
doesn't
number.
need-
We're all,
So he
we're all
doesn't need
choking
any
on it.
further training? He's like on board?
He,
and
he's,
ready to go.
he's good, he's running this plant, he has run this plant for many years, he's got 15 years into this plant, I believe, of
And I
running
think
it.
he's required to do CEUs, I believe, to keep
Yeah.
licensing and
You have
maintain
to.
licensing, and then,
Yes,
to put it in perspective, as far as like, we have another person down there who's shown a lot of promise and working his way up. He's 2 years out at a minimum before he can even begin licensing, cause you need 2 years under your belt.
Yeah.
We're hoping that we can get some previous work experience counted towards that 2 years, but, and then on top of that, it's a lot of testing and in a minimum grade level that he needs to make.
And it's really our only option, right?
well,
Yeah, I hate to be the reason why we pay that, but again,
No, but I mean, what's the alternative
stuck.
to that?
third party,
we're fined $10,000 a day until we
Right.
have a licensed
So,
operator.
And I can
That's an
also
issue.
share, like, so Hinsdale has got a single operator right now, because they can't hire anybody, so there's one person
Right.
running that whole town's plant, because they can't get anybody on board.
Yeah.
So it's just, this is a very hard industry to hire for.
Well, it's very
Hey,
specific.
It's very specific.
Not a lot of people
and you
looking
pay
to get
for it.
into the business.
and, I mean, with what's going on down there too, I gotta express is we've like gone through every resource to get off the lagoons and go different directions. And then the next step from here is activated sludge, which you think that number's high, wait till they start driving them people in here, then it's gonna be huge. The payroll will be this whole budget.
That's not good.
So that's what, I mean, we're really,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, even third party was.
third party was
two-thirds of
great.
the budget,
Right, the third party was out of control, and plus all the materials and the repairs. We would have to hire a third party just to do the repairs in the system. Well, I mean, you know,
We're not unique, unfortunately, to the state, but.
Are there other questions on that line? Assistant superintendent salary? Big reduction there.
No, you want me to explain that? Okay. I was waiting to see if there was any questions. So basically, with a long talk with Justin and how we handle this was we're either hiring somebody else at that 75 plus range, or we can start to work from within. So, the laborer that's there now, really wants to do that portion of it. He's preparing some documents to go through that. So we all agreed that we could drop this down to possibly a part-time position, to give the current superintendent a break from time to time, because with that salary also requires him to be on call 24/7. So, basically he can't leave a certain radius, and he really can't enjoy himself with a cocktail or anything like that for as long as this system runs with him as the only licensee, so it's a big commitment from him. So, yeah, we were able to drop this down, for the time being and see if we can basically promote from within to get that through. With the help of the next line, basically.
That'd be the office manager salary.
Yeah, so this will free up just, so if we can do this on a part-time basis as well, it saves us from offering any benefit packages, and I don't think we have a 40-hour work week for them anyway, but it'll free up Justin to do the things that that he's trained and licensed to do. We don't need, to your, point, Alan, we don't need to have someone with a salary like that sitting behind a desk for part of the day.
I agree.
Doing data entry, so this will free him up to do the things he needs to be doing.
Rolling on, overtime staying the same. And then there's a laborer position. Again, looks like a big increase from 2024 budget.
Yeah, so I guess, are these just named, this would be a question for Adam, are
This
these
is just
just
the way
named
they've been
different?
named
Right,
in the
yeah,
system,
so
yeah.
we did have 2 employees last time, so this, overall, while the superintendent's salary went up, I believe as a combined rate, we're pretty close to where we were, but, this is that position that we created, it's been a great help for Justin, again, he's been awesome, he's everything we wanted him to be when he came in, and he's showing that he wants to move forward, so, that's what this position
This is basically an operator in training.
is. Exactly.
So he's getting the experience on the meters and how to do all the stuff, and then he'll sit for the licensing as soon as he can, and we're working with DES to get waivers for some of the time that you have to be doing it, because he's got construction experience and some mechanical experience, so basically submitting documentation to DES, trying to get them to approve those hours to count as water sewer experience in some way. And they have that process in place now because there are so few people in the industry that they're trying to get more people where they can say, yeah, you don't have to wait 2 years because you've been a plumber for 3 years, so we're gonna take all that, or you've been an electrician, or you've been a mason or something, where they can give you some credit to the hours that you've worked doing similar or things that are related at least.
Right, I hate to even mention it, but they also lowered the standards in testing because they've had so few people be able to pass.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, but it
So
just
are
goes
there
to show
3
the
guys or 3
difficulty.
people?
No, to clear it up, I think when we were back here on the part-time helper, I think Mike was telling you about the labor we have now, so that's one we're looking potentially to get a part-time guy in.
That's what I was just
As
gonna ask.
needed,
The
yeah, no, I think you gotta look
assistant
at.
supervisor is what you're going,
The
looking for.
what he's
Okay.
telling you right now is the
laborer.
No, the one he's telling you right now is yes, it's in here as a laborer.
Okay.
But that's the laborer that's.
Right.
Currently
In-
working.
That's
Yeah.
currently working, the one
This one
he
here.
spoke about before is the part-time guy that we do not have.
Right, so
That's
these,
all right.
right, the 2 previous are not filled, we hope to fill them
What's the name
sometime.
of the person who's in the superintendent's position?
Justin.
Oh, so then who is the laborer in training?
Tobin, I'm not aware of it, I don't recall
Oh,
his
it
last
just helps me with names. I know, you do. Okay,
Yeah, no,
I just don't know if we say names with salaries and.
all right, well, it's 2,000 people, yeah, it's not a secret. I just don't know who it is yet.
Sure.
Okay.
Pager compensation is,
It's now included in, with Justin.
okay, so that's part of the reason the superintendent line is high.
Right.
Oh.
Not the whole reason, but it's
Right, so that's.
it's rolled in
It's-
there,
yeah.
so he doesn't get an extra stipend.
We bartered where we could.
Questions on that? Okay. Treasurer's salary shows as a 0, but the note, the treasurer requested a raise of $500, the commission agreed, and this will be added to the separate warrant article for raises for elected officials. So is that, any questions on that one? I can
Is
answer
that you?
That's me. So if there's any questions, I can answer those.
So,
Adam did give us a
In that
nice
case, no.
breakdown of the time that it takes him to do things and specifically for us, obviously, and it was clear that
I did.
it was warranted.
okay.
Okay. Property taxes.
So, this one we're hoping will be coming off, and this will correlate to another line item down below, but, many of us, well, all of us in the town of Troy are in firm agreement that with state laws the way they are, we should not be paying tax on the property in Jaffrey where our wells and tank are located. I believe Attorney Hopkick had looked at this at some point, and for whatever reason, we are still paying that. I'm sure Jaffrey argued it. We will be using something out of our legal budget to hopefully clarify that and not pay that again.
So I just reached out to him the other day and he confirmed what we thought. My question to him is, can we go back, can we go to get any of the back money?
I'm
Guessing we're not gonna be able to.
I guess, yeah, I highly doubt it, but as long as we can not pay it moving forward, I think it'd be a
I
win,
don't know why they invoice us, they should know the rules too, but,
right?
This should be changed.
So Hoppick told you the opposite?
no, state law is that we don't owe a dime on.
Right, but
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you were
Hoppick-
saying Hoppick,
No.
you reached out to Hoppick, I'm sorry.
So essentially.
So I asked him what our next step would be, I would think it'd be a letter to Jaffrey saying we're not gonna pay going forward.
Well, he had handled it at one point, so I don't know if he has a file on it.
I
but,
think he does.
Yeah,
I don't know what
like,
happened.
for
there,
some
but-
reason, we're still paying it, so,
So should that be exempt property?
No, there's a special law that was passed in 1911 that specifically says that the Troy Water Works does not have to pay taxes for any buildings or facilities located in the town of Swansea, Marlborough, or Richmond, I believe. But specifically Jaffrey, I'm sorry. Swansea, Jaffrey, or Marlborough. Because I don't think they knew quite where they were gonna build it. And so it is an act, it's a special act of the legislature, signed by the governor, and approved by the council, signed by the governor in 1911.
I'm still on the books.
It's still on the books, it's never been repealed, it's never been modified, nobody can find any written agreement that says it should have ever been anything other than that.
So then why have we been paying it for?
Well, I think the reason, I think.
Someone
because
sent the
we're-
bill back so one year, we started paying it, and
When the taxes were $50 a year, they just,
Well, that was a lot in 1911.
well, they probably didn't pay it in 1911. We'd have to dig through the town records, which doesn't seem worthwhile, and I don't think you're gonna sue Jaffrey and get the,
Money back.
money back. We just,
Okay. Fingers crossed.
I probably kept sending it saying, oh, they keep paying, so.
Right.
right, we sent them a bill, they paid it, okay, whatever, man. So, I think it's just an unfortunate mistake.
More follow-up will happen on that.
Yeah.
Okay, clarification.
I think the follow-up is, don't send them a check.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so it looks like half the taxes for this year haven't been paid,
I wouldn't pay any more. There's no reason to,
so that's it.
yeah.
Okay.
That's even better than current.
And then as Mike said, we get
For taxes,
into,
they're gonna start maintaining it.
Alright, advertising? Looks like just a dollar as a
yeah.
placeholder.
Placeholder,
Building maintenance and repair, staying the same.
yeah, we left, it was an increase over previous years, well, from 2020, oh no, never mind, it's split up 2,500 each, I'm sorry. So yeah, no increase on that.
Okay. Computer services,
I believe, I listened to what Ben had said on this one, I believe this is the one that has that $3,500 charge in it, right? That, we don't know which line it gets paid out of, so we'll have to figure that out, this might be redundant in here.
It's paid out of computer services.
Okay, great, let's see, I just wanna read the note here. Okay, so I don't know if you might know, Adam, but why this would be more than last year, other than, did that computer services cost increase?
worldwide, everything goes in there, right?
Like, here's a breakdown,
They're always going up.
so this will be monthly costs, so if you times those by 12, you get what your worldwide cost will be.
Okay.
Ben didn't have, I don't think Ben had that, cause I didn't have that.
Right, I think, right, I wanna feel like there was, right, some sort
Unless
of
you have something else
estimating.
outside of worldwide in that charge you just mentioned, it should be,
No, Avatar charges us anything for billing, that would go in there too.
so maybe Avatar too. So it might be accurate. But,
Any questions on that one? Okay. Disability insurance, is there a better number from Jeremy, or is this just where we're sticking for now?
yeah, for now,
Okay.
we gotta go with that.
Dues, memberships and subscriptions, looks like no increase. Sewer bond reimbursement. The note says this will increase next year as the rates increase.
Next year, meaning end of 25 at the earliest is what we're hoping for another rate increase. Prefer first quarter of 26.
Didn't you just increase the bond payments? for the
I
customers?
don't know that, we increased the rate or how we bill the bond and slightly on the rate.
So shouldn't that reflect this year? If you're collecting more, shouldn't the town be getting more?
We increased our bond payment, in what year?
2 years ago,
23, yeah.
Correct.
it's last year.
But that was before you adjusted the rates.
Right. I'll be honest, I don't know how that works entirely, so that might, if you can help me with that,
So part of it is, yeah, there's gonna be the bond for what we approved at town meeting. So that's gonna increase the payments that have to be made out. So this number is just the same until we get that number from, cause we haven't actually got a bill on that bond yet. Cause the disbursements don't start getting billed until, I think, January of 25.
Didn't we have it before?
So,
So,
You run with this.
so in 22 and earlier, the department was paying about $20,000 towards the bond.
Uh-huh.
In 23 and 24, it was like $38,000.
Okay. That's because we increased it, we like doubled what was coming out of water users.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's held there right now, just because we don't have any additional, we don't have enough data yet to know how much we're gonna bring in for a full year and how much needs to go out.
and what's the process for reimbursing the town on this?
Every quarter, the water department cuts a check to the town.
Okay. So, let me think this through.
Yep.
You're getting money, is this all money from the customers are paying, or is it other money?
I don't understand the question.
is the 38,000 we're giving generated just from customers, or are
Yeah.
we chipping in
yes.
on that?
That's all from customers.
That's all from customers?
Like it's all of our money is from customers.
So shouldn't everything that comes in from customers every quarter go to the town every quarter, irrespective?
For bond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're collecting money for bonds, it goes to the town to pay for bonds.
Right.
You shouldn't be sitting on it, it should go right to the town every quarter.
Well, in the past, and leading up to now, it was the set $20,000 for 15 or 20 years. So that's just how the process has worked and we've all been on the committee for less than 2 years, so that's just,
So
that's.
basically, water and sewer is banking money that's earmarked to pay for bonds.
I guess, I would have to look at what actual bond is. I wanna say in the previous years, we were actually paying,
No, I don't think so. I think what the water and sewer department wasn't paying their fair share of it at all. So whatever they were collecting, whatever it was $15 was probably broke down to make that $20,000. Because it was only based per quarter, per unit. It would never, barely ever changed.
Yeah, they had a certain amount.
So it was just, so whatever, there's 500 bedrooms, or 500 units.
Yeah.
So
It was
the
only
way they used-
$15,
So what
so.
they used to do it
So
was,
now it's-
they wanted, the Water Sewer Commission paid $20,000 a year, so they said, okay, we have 450 accounts, to how much we have to charge them to raise $20,000.
Okay, so how much are you raising now with the new
I don't
adjustments?
know what it would.
Yeah, I was gonna try, I think we have a document that we looked at when we were adjusting that. I'll try and find
Cause
it.
it was what, 9, what, it was like it doubled.
It was like 9 and now
And
it's
then it was
25,
18,
there's a
and then
volumetric
is it
charge.
gone, right, so then there's that, yeah.
Which sort of means the payments.
Yes.
They went to 38,000.
Yeah, when the first change, it went from 20 to 38, and now
Right.
it's shifted again, because there was just a couple
Yes.
months ago, and what you're saying is you
So-
just don't know what it is yet, in order
So-
to increase it?
Cause
So
it runs on
It
the
hasn't been the
flow.
process to just pay the amount that was raised, it was just whatever the agreed upon the year before amount that the department was reimbursing is what they paid. So that's how it's been.
So you just pay the bill, if the town kinda says, here's the bill, cause this is what we agreed to at the last budget season, that's what you're paying, but you've increased it. So that's what Steve's saying, so
Okay.
we increased, like, it went up a couple months ago, so there should be extra money somewhere that is allocated towards the bonds. It just hasn't gone anywhere yet because it's not in the budget, because everything changed after the budget season last year.
So, I do have a document from 10/12/2022, when we increased to 38,654, we were paying what we had received in bond payments, so 100% of what we received in bond payments was going to that. So yeah, we've only had one billing cycle, and I don't even, since then, so,
Right, cause the next one's due.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, two.
Eventually,
Two,
the
yeah.
mill's gonna come online. which is
That's
gonna
a
raise
whole
the
nother
bond
story.
payment. But I'm just
Yeah,
looking, you
yeah.
know,
yeah.
So it should be paid off sooner
if
than
it
later.
comes in
yeah.
every quarter and goes out every quarter, then it's good. If it comes in every quarter and then you don't pay it until like the next year, then you got a sort of a slush fund going.
No, it looks like we pay every quarter, yeah.
Every quarter, there's a check.
Okay.
For 9,663.50.
And the bonds will be paid off, the current ones will be paid off in 27 and 28, I think, or 27 and 29.
I won't be on the budget committee.
Oh, yes, you will. You're going to die here.
It could be sooner than later.
Electricity, looks like looking for an increase.
Thank you for that.
No, yeah, no, I learned something every time, so, yeah, so this is like a standard increase year after year. We're hoping that, we've been doing some research about a PPA solar project or an owned solar project, and just with everything else going on, I don't know that we need to try and fight through grants and other things when someone will foot the bill for the entire thing. So, hopefully this gets better or goes away, and then I don't know if since the meeting, Jeremy, you've been able to get an idea on how they're gonna classify those buildings or anything like that, or,
Still trying to,
yeah, I was gonna say, it's only been a couple days, so.
yeah, but it's been like pulling teeth, but.
I'm sure, right? The last thing they wanna do is, yeah, give you a break. Even when you do solar, they kinda drag their feet, so, yeah, this is our electric bill, so it looks like we are a heavy user for sure. The solar project on a PPA would take care of 80% of that, so, we're hoping to move forward with that. Bill Covino's been a pretty major part of that. Hopefully that number goes down, I guess is the short story of that.
Well repair, 15,000, staying the same. State dam fee, staying the same. Equipment purchase, staying the same. General supplies, staying the same.
Equipment repair.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, equipment repair, staying the same. Then general supplies, staying the same. Health insurance, healthy increase.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that
You have no
is a fill in the
control.
blank, right, but
Yeah.
Jeremy gave us some preliminary numbers for this.
Labor contracted services going way, way, way down.
Yeah, so this is part of that, when we were looking at third party, because third party been helping us out for a while. We weren't sure if we were gonna continue with that or not, and to what capacity, and it seems to be working out with what we got going on, and saves us obviously quite a bit of money, so that's where that went.
Computer supplies, the note says this has been moved to the postage line. No, the way Ben described it at the selectmen's meeting is there's like 3 lines: postage, general supplies, or computer supplies, and office supplies that all were kind of billed to make up how much it cost for envelopes and stamps and paper. So they kind of used to just split them up. So now this is just kind of right sizing and putting the numbers in the right buckets where they should be to pay for what they're paying for.
Okay.
'Cause if you look, so computer supplies down 600, and then if you go down
Is it
5 or
office
6, office supplies is down 700,
Okay.
and then postage is up 1300, which is 700 plus 600, so there's the difference.
Okay.
Office equipment repair, level funded. Internet, level funded. There's a second internet connection with the terminated. Life insurance, waiting on a confirmation from Jeremy, but it's approximately the same. Liability, getting updates soon. Property insurance, updates soon.
Mail reimbursement?
Oh, sorry, bill reimbursement. Yeah, went right by it. Level funded. Equipment rental.
So we left this in here because this year we have aging generators, right? I think we're 40 plus years on our generators, and we have multiple generators. We lost the one at the pump station permanently recently. And have since replaced it with one on a trailer, so that, our hope is, we applied for a grant, pretty sure we got. I've been trying to call Homeland Security for literally months. I've left a message for everybody in the department, and there's been 3 receptionists that have said, this is the first, I just started this week, so, and left a message with them, and I have yet to get a call back, multiple emails and all that, so, I don't know what's going on over there, it sounds like a high turnover rate, I'm wondering if anybody that I'm emailing is even still there, so. In the meantime, anyway, that was a long way to say that we left this in here because when we do have to rent a generator, it's a pretty big cost. It's a huge cost up front. It's like $4,000 or $5,000 to get them to bring it out, set it up, and the first month's included, and then it's a couple grand after that. So, should this happen again, that's why this is in here. And hopefully, we get the grant, we replace the other one, and now we have a portable of our own. Right? And we can make that a permanent at any site if that's how we do. We were able to get it used with a great warranty. Kind of worked in our favor.
Something's bound to eventually, right? Materials, parts,
Oh, I lost my.
this one is up $5,000. And then it says for infrastructure repairs such as hydrants, lines, piping, gate valves, manhole components, etc.
Yeah, so basically, we've been rummaging through what we got to repair stuff, we just want some availability to actually have the stuff on hand and be able to repair it right once. So, we've been searching for breaks or gate valves and that sort of thing, and we just wanna be able to have it and do it right.
Any questions on that one? Office supplies down 700, this is what I explained a minute ago. Postage up 1,300, part of the office supply thing. Propane increase, it looks like it's just getting budgeted to what's been spent. And what runs on propane? Is it just
Generators.
generators? Okay.
I think we got one furnace at the plant.
Water testing, level funded. Sewer testing, also level funded. Ice samples, level funded. Social Security, this is all just a function of payroll. State retirement, same thing. Legal expense, level funded. This is where, Mike, you were talking about the.
Yeah, we left it
property
in
tax
there so
line.
that we can actually try and get Jaffrey on the same page with the taxes and that, I doubt we'll use that much, but we just level funded.
Okay. Telephone, level funded. Cell phone, level funded, with a note, need to check with AP clerk to see if this is accurate. cell phone, the last line of the first page.
I have to go.
It's,
Page 2.
depending upon how you look at it, it's either upside down or it's not.
Training, hiring, testing, level funded. Travel reimbursement, level funded. Trash removal, level funded. Calibrating lab equipment is level funded. Again, I mean, there's a question, throw up your hands. Uniforms, level funded. Vehicle repairs, 2011 GMC is level funded with a note, looking to purchase a truck this year, but leave this in the budget just in case. So do you wanna talk about truck purchasing?
I think what, I heard you guys talk about it at the meeting, and we had talked about it at our meeting, but, to do a lease purchase program, lease impact for us, we can get a new truck. We spent, what, $9,000 on the Ford last year, attempted to get a truck, didn't work out for various reasons, and, you know, between the two, we spent over $10,000 on repairs, so, left this in here in case the warrant article does not pass, or we end up without a truck, but the hope is to replace at least one, and then work on something for the other.
Any questions about trucks?
Are you looking to buy one vehicle or two?
One,
Okay, I just see it. on
we're
the
hoping with the
price.
sale price, if we can sell them both,
Oh, yeah.
that would warrant a smaller, you know, we don't need two full-size trucks.
Diesel fuel, level funded. Is the expenditure so low because the truck's been broken?
Well, I don't know how much we actually use, but then, the other question is that kind of, at some point, we gotta look at what we pay, cause we buy our diesel fuel at the town barn, Ringe,
State market.
state,
Yeah.
if it's worth us having a guy go all the way out there and back and not be here, like how much we're saving, I'm assuming it's just untaxed fuel.
It's like 40 cents a gallon off.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
worth
that
it. And then
40
my
cents
other
sounds like
thought
a
is,
waste.
we're going to at least Mr. Mike's or T-Bird anyway, so.
Gasoline, level funded.
40 cents is the tax you say.
That's not it.
Tractor repair, level funded. Looks like I haven't spent a ton, but there are years where you spend some, because that's what it costs to fix. Lawnmower repairs, funded at $1. John Deere tractor, level funded. Small engine repair with $1. Generator repair maintenance, level funded. And similar note to the rental line, it looks like this will be left elevated while generator issues are addressed. You see in 23, there was over $10,000 spent on generator repairs. So. Generator fuel, so that's a separate line.
That's diesel, that's diesel fuel for the big generators down at the pump station,
Oh,
just to clarify that.
small tools, level funded. Over expenditure this year already, but that's just, I can, the new superintendent knew that there was some tools that he needed that we didn't have, that weren't really planned for when we built the budget, but he was given permission to purchase them. Road repair, cold patch, hot top.
So this category is for when we do have to dig up a road that we may not repair it ourselves, you know, the town, the road agent helps us with that, but it's a cost to us, we pay for that whenever that happens.
Weed control, level funded. Low expenses this year, and the note says, left elevated to allow for the hiring of a third-party vendor to weed the lagoons.
This goes back
That's a
to
gross job.
whether we pay someone a six-figure salary to weed, or we hire that job out.
Any questions on that? Alarm system, level funded, SCADA.
Send me that time's up.
Data is our, how we monitor our wells and all that, it also sends us data when they're low or, you know.
Workers' comp, this is again just a number, it's an estimate based on salary lines. Chemicals. So this one is going up 30%,
Looks like it, this would have been, so two things here, I'm assuming some of this is a cost of just the chemicals themselves, but we also added a chemical feed process as part of the plant upgrade, and this will help pay for some of that. Well, this will pay for the chemicals needed for that.
Questions on chemicals?
I'm sure there's not a coupon somewhere.
No, we've even looked into trying to buy it in bulk, but some of it has a pretty short shelf life,
Yeah, I
so.
would think, yeah, you don't wanna mess with those, yeah.
No,
So, but you said part of this is going into a system.
well, no,
System.
yeah, so we are just about completed the chemical feed portion of the plant upgrade. So in the water headworks, we'll introduce the chemical before it makes it to the lagoon. Should, you know, help in that complete mix part of it. And there'll be an added chemical in there. So that's why there's an increase.
For the added chemical, not for the system.
No, the system was paid for out of the CWSRF.
Okay.
In that.
Didn't sound that way.
Yep, no, you're right.
Do you anticipate any additional this year, like additional cost this year?
I don't believe so. I think we have everything on site already for
Okay,
that,
so
yep.
then that's just accurate.
Okay, state permits, level funded. Auditors, Jeremy, before we run out, do you have any information on auditors?
I don't have to break it down.
Okay. So, auditors on this one, so we have a line item, it's got money in it every year, and it doesn't appear that it's been charged, so Jeremy's looking into see if, when the town gets audited, if they've just been auditing the water sewer books at the same time and not billing it separately because it's the town, so if so, then the water sewer department will reimburse the town for whatever portion of the total cost of the audit is that the water sewer books cost. So he's looking into that.
Are all departments doing that then?
No, water sewer specifically has to pay for the services that it gets done by the town.
Oh, okay.
We generate our own revenue.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
so like,
okay.
the hours that, town hall staff works on billing, we pay for.
Right, well, I knew that.
So just, it's in the RSAs that they have to pay. Abatements, so this is a brand new line, the note, old uncollected balances need to be addressed, and this should be more than enough to take care of it.
So basically, Abby gave us a nice breakdown, and some of our uncollected balances are, well, there's some that are,
2016.
right, I'm trying to do the math, so 8 years old, right? So in order to either, there'll be some, we're gonna try and figure out a threshold, and some that we try to collect, and some that we don't, some just aren't worth it, they're less than $10. So, this line is the total amount of what we're currently owed, that's like a year or more past due. And we'll just see, once we determine we need a space to collect it, and then abate it, so.
Is this unpaid water bills?
Yeah.
Oh, or water sewer?
So this is to cover any that you're gonna just say don't bother.
Right,
And similarly to the town, when we've talked about the selectmen's line, when we didn't budget for tax refunds and tax abatements, it hits the budget.
Right.
As it, like, it basically takes away the money you can spend, cause you never raised any for it, so by raising it, then we won't be negatively impacting the overall budget.
Yeah, even if you collected the money in error, which is the frustrating part about it. So if they accidentally sent out a water bill or a tax bill, it was $50 more than it should be, and then you cut the people a check back.
Yeah, that comes off of that line.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that line in there, it's a
Cause
catastrophe.
it's money out,
Yeah,
even if it's got money behind it.
yeah,
it's
so
made.
we'll see how this goes, cause some people are, there's people that are no longer with us, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I've got a sort of a budget committee thing. Last year, I think, maybe the year before, we were talking about combining the vehicle fuel lines. So you didn't have to break, cause, you know, if you buy a new truck and it's gas, your budget's out of whack. So if you put it in just as fuel, then you do diesel or gas as needed.
Whatever the next truck will be gas anyway, but okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's just sort of part of the example. I'm wondering if we should do that going forward on all the.
I think there's a problem with combining lines, in the accounting system. Is that not true, Sarah? I'm asking,
You're saying combine.
I was told
Yeah, in
that,
other words, instead of having a line for diesel fuel and a line for gasoline,
I
it
understand.
would be just vehicle fuel.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what I would do if it was my company.
Mhm.
Like, that is what I do. But I was told previously that we couldn't, once one of these accounts is in there, it's in there forever.
Yeah, so we can make a combined line, but those lines are still gonna be in there. I
But then
can't-
eventually you hide them. they're still
Yeah,
in the
but even
system.
when we like hide them, they still come up.
They still, when you look at the
Right,
end of the
and I don't
P and
know
L,
why.
Good
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah. when you look at the end of the P and L for the town, you're gonna see 4 pages of accounts with zeros in them. And you go, what the hell is this? And that's what that is.
Right, wasn't there one of those like flowers and fruit baskets or something
Yeah,
like that?
right,
We
yeah.
used to see that one every year, we're like, what?
What?
Yeah, and I would agree, cause we have like office supplies, computer supplies, stuff like that, we had talked about that in our meeting as well.
So it does age out at some point, but if you spent $1 in that line this year, you're gonna carry it all the way through this year.
Right. Just something we talked about, I
Yeah.
didn't bring it up.
I think that was the issue, what was that, on the accounting system that we use, it makes it not necessarily beneficial to combine them.
Can't win.
It's like, yeah, that's why sometimes we have to look at the budgets and say, well, you overspent this line, but underspent this
Right.
line, because.
Yeah, it took me a while to get it.
Sarah has a question.
The internet line, you explained like the note next to it terminating something, cause you guys do expend money from that right now.
So I think we have multiple internet lines, and if I understood it correctly at our meeting, we have one that we don't use at all.
Don't you know where it is?
So that's the one we were discussing terminating, and then TJ had also discussed that when we did some of the upgrades to infrastructure in town, that town buildings were not supposed to have internet, well, or charge for internet.
Some still do.
Right.
It's like the static IP or whatever.
Okay,
it's
so
called.
yeah, a little clarification on that, but we do have one that we're not using. So we'll still have,
Do
we
you know
have,
what that is?
I don't, that's what we gotta figure out.
Cause I thought it had to do with the wells and like there's like.
There's one,
security
yeah, there's,
systems.
I think the wells are on satellite now, or
No, they're all,
cellular?
yeah, yes.
Yeah, so it might be the one for the wells, but we never got a line run out to the well. So
Which
they,
would explain why you don't use it.
they tried, they terminated it at the pole, and I think that was one of the original arguments I remember with the previous superintendent was if we could get them to come back and install the line, we would use it, but I think we're using cellular at those locations right now.
Is there a motion on the table to tentatively approve this number?
Motion
Motion
to tentatively approve.
Motion from Tara, second from Jamie. Any further last questions about the budget? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
You can vote.
Those who don't vote.
That was an abstention down here.
No, abstention from Alan, already, one abstention. Mike, do you want to, so there's gonna be a warrant article for a truck, potentially?
I wasn't prepared for this part of it, so yeah, we talked about,
We don't need numbers, just, is there gonna be a warrant article for truck? Yes.
I believe, for us to purchase it, just to, for the town to give us the permission to purchase it with our own money. As a lease purchase, just, it works out better for us from a cost standpoint, we were approved last year, but needed, approval from the select board, didn't get it.
What is it, deer in your yard?
So yeah, we're hoping that the town will just give us permission and we can go ahead and do it.
There's gonna be some sort of utility truck.
We'll decide which truck we're gonna replace. We're open to, I think, it's gonna be a toss up, but it'll be, a Ford F-250, regular cab, long bed. We'll put the lift gate that's on the back of it and a plow. That's it. That last spec was, I think with the plow was like 58 from Hillsborough, which was kind enough to give us quite a discount over an Ford.
So that's pretty cheap.
Right. And it's aluminum, so hopefully that helps.
Is there anything else you wanna share about any
Different
projects?
corrosion, that's all.
Any other projects, just that so I built a timeline for the public at some point that we'll put out there that, about the sludge removal process, and that has finally been officially accepted by DES, which took 7 weeks, for them, to officially accept it. They're looking to start in November, approximately 5 weeks of work time, so with the holiday, they're not sure if they'll complete by the end of the year or at the beginning of January, but that's kind of the major, that's what we've been waiting for, right? That's the most important part of this process, so that ball has begun rolling, so, it's gonna be a little bit, what I like about it's gonna be a little bit less involved. They're gonna send divers under the covers instead of removing the covers. Yeah, everybody loves that one. So
The divers are okay with it.
This guy paid well.
right, they do.
Diving in November sounds awesome.
Yeah, so
Well, it'll be warm.
It'll be warm.
Yeah.
They have heated suits.
so yeah, that's great. We've been waiting for that for a while, and unfortunately, the first round of bidding, nobody 100% met the DES requirements, and that's why we had to put it out for a second bid, and that's why it took us most of the year. And if you look at my timeline when I compare it, DES is about a 5-week response time on any time we ask them for approval on anything. So, that's 2.5 months of just waiting for us anyway.
Did they, ease up on the, requirements when you had to go out for a second time? Or no?
That we had to request waivers to
Okay.
avoid some of the stuff. I forget what they called it. It wasn't really a hardship, but it was a disadvantaged franchise or something like that to be able to do the work.
Okay.
They had originally bid it, the first time around, so it had to go to the same people, and yeah, this time they were the only bid back.
So that sounds like we should be done with the water sewer commission. So get out.
And you survived.
You can stay if you want.
Alan, back here. Your appointment to this committee doesn't become effective until you're sworn in.
Okay, so I
Would
keep
you
my mouth
at your
shut, right?
earliest convenience,
So you did the right
Is that what you're
thing.
telling me?
I can't hear you.
You're telling me to keep my mouth shut until I get
I'm
appointed?
trying to do that politely. But there's
Okay,
more.
correct, I don't care. I
There's
can
more.
take it.
Please, at your earliest convenience, stop in the town clerk's office, fill out an oath form, and then Chrissy will swear you in.
Okay,
Thank you.
so what I said earlier is irrelevant?
Well, since it's unanimous vote, it doesn't really matter. So yes, it is irrelevant.
At least I said my piece.
No, feel free to participate, just don't vote.
Oh, I will.
Alright, so next up on the list is conservation committee, is that Kyle?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna say you just finished filing the ZBA afterwards.
Okay.
Get on the
Yeah,
way.
this was yours, you want that back?
Conservation?
Oh.
It's all right, well, I did see if I did.
No, I'm just doing
This is
Oh,
about
he's
that.
doing-
So conservation, both, okay.
That's why I said like, I don't know.
Alright,
Yep, no, it worked.
No, conservation and planning.
Invoice cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna add a question.
From them, but.
Did Jeremy ask you about the registration fees for the dam moving the conservation commission
This
budget?
will be.
We're moving them from or putting them in?
Remove them from the select board, move them to conservation.
Why would you want
Just
to?
want to do online. I don't work on Dan's part, centralize everything.
What is happening over here?
I don't know.
Well,
Jeremy might.
Potentially,
It's
not
going the other
just
way.
Yeah,
you guys can,
Yes.
yeah, is there any
See,
crowd?
It'd be all
Well,
five. There's four.
I think there's 4, or there might be 5.
Kyle,
There's 4.
you ready?
Kyle,
I just had to verify something for the budget.
Well, the short answer is no, we haven't discussed it.
And I'll leave it out for now.
We can do it.
How long
That
have
wouldn't
we
be part of that couple that was made, but.
To the ZBA.
Okay.
Missed a shot, Kyle. You
Yeah, well, okay, fine. 60,000 it is. So, I think the one you have in front of you only says 2205.
Yeah.
I may have to come back before the board. I'm currently talking to Ken Catino. We're working on a final number proposal for a grant to do Silica Pond for 1.2 million. I'm guessing that the grant writer position will move from $400 to $3,500. I'm waiting for a proposal with the amount before I put that number in. As far as the rest of the budget line, that will stay the same. The only one in contest is the grant writer. So we're expecting, he's thinking, the problem is the last grant was to the state for 1.2 million. The state fund is now out, so he has to move to FEMA, high risk dam. There's 3 different grant programs. But he's can't be as cheap as he was hoping. He's thinking it's gonna be around 3,500 because FEMA has a little more requirements. The other answer I'm waiting for is we're trying to find classification of Silica Pond. Is it actually red list / high?
Of the dams we had, that was the least trouble. Well, the sand dam was
The least trouble.
the least trouble. Then Silica Pond was not rated as a dam in trouble the last time I looked, but the Village Pond Dam is,
Yeah. So
because the gates are
we were
frozen.
told that Silica Pond was top of the list, and that's why that grant for 1.2 million was done.
Well, I'm good with it if that's.
But
we'll do
we need verification, so.
it. We have there's a list in the selectman's office. with
Well, I asked Jeremy
classifications.
to see if we could find that list
Yeah,
to
it's definitely
verify.
there.
Cause I don't wanna also waste grant money going after a grant. What happened with the last 2 grants, Silica Pond and I believe it was Village Pond for the survey to do engineering, because they weren't red listed, after you spent, I think it was $4,000, applications were grabbed and they're thrown in trash. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
So I'm waiting to see if I can make sure those are red listed,
Good.
and 2, to make sure he gives me a final number, and I'll forward you his email. So.
yeah, because we had an arrangement, the Army Corps of Engineers would come and dredge
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
We just had to give them an access point and like campgrounds or something.
Yeah.
So,
And that may be something we could do, but to chase the grants, we have to first make sure they're at a certain classification.
it'd be so bad.
So, Silica Pond, the reason we went with Silica Pond is because that was the last grant written, it's the most complete, it still has quotes from companies, we can recall companies, they can adjust the numbers. Basically, the easiest one moving forward. This company's, the same guy wrote it last time, he's gonna be the same guy doing it. So he's literally just rolling it over, minus the extra paperwork for FEMA. That's another reason we're trying to aim for Silica. 9% of the work's done. You're basically just reusing the grant with modifications. So, I'm gonna say 3,500 on the grant writer line, everything else stays the same. But I will have to come back to this board when I have information.
We can recall meeting in January then sometime, or maybe February, I don't remember. That's fine.
Well, I'm hoping it's within November.
Can you remind, what's the clerk position?
The clerk position is just level funded as $1, cause that position got moved to the select board, but I believe we left it as $1, so that line item never leaves.
I think we did that everywhere.
I believe the ZBA, planning board, and clerk all have that.
I'll have $1,
Just give her
just in case somebody changes their mind in the middle of the year.
But we don't bill to.
No, the separate departments are not billed. They used to come out of each budget, there's a portion, and due to the accountant nightmare, the budget committee suggested just selectmen's and moved all those totals to the selectmen's budget.
This committee used to have budget clerk,
Yes,
paid a salary, just to come to meetings and do minutes.
and then we brought in these ladies. Yes.
And this gentleman.
Well, yes, sorry, Jeremy.
Not me.
Alright, so we'll go down to the next line. Conservation education, level funded.
Yep.
Dues, membership, subscriptions, level funded. Any questions on fishing, hunting, education, general supplies? I think it's $1. Training, hiring, testing. No? Okay. Anybody wanna throw out a motion?
I move that we approve the budget as proposed.
Okay, we got a tentative.
I'll second
from
it.
Nick, second from Steve.
Yep.
Any questions?
Now,
All
did
those in
we-
favor?
Did we approve
Aye.
this with or without the
Aye.
3,500?
Opposed?
Submitted with the 3,500.
3,500.
And abstentions?
I'm not saying anything.
Good.
I think we approved it as is, and then we'll recall meeting if it changes.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
so it just.
Either way, I'll be coming back to the board to let you know the final
Yeah.
number.
Okay, I just wanna make sure the motion was about. I know. That was part of the discussion, thank you.
Alright, so what's your next one, planning board?
Yep,
Okay, planning board.
so planning board, I believe the final number should be the same, so we did move some stuff around.
Okay.
Starting with the clerk, $1, level funded. Advertising, staying at 1,000. Cash registry of deeds, staying at 50. Community outreach, we're dropping to 700.
What do you guys bill to that, just like mailings?
Yeah, mail-ins, anything like that.
Last year was high because you did the survey.
We did the survey,
Okay.
which we're hoping to do surveys, so anything like that we do, or if we host an informational thing like at the rec center where we did the housing, that'd be covered in
That's the
that.
community outrage you're talking about?
Yep.
Outreach, not outrage.
It's the same thing, I swear to God.
Well, you did the survey this year.
Mhm.
How come it's not on the budget and the actual?
I'm not sure why, but there should be a cost of $300 to $400 for that.
They got on the wrong line someplace?
It's definitely in there somewhere, I just don't know where it is.
Well, was it done in 23 or was it done in
It was
24?
done this year,
It was done in calendar 24?
the survey, yep,
Yeah, okay.
because we handed out stuff at the March meeting,
Yeah, right.
so,
Did that have ended up in advertising?
Yeah, I think it might be, they'll look into it.
yeah,
Okay.
but that should be under that line item.
Okay.
Any other questions on that?
Doesn't
Legal
affect the budget.
expenses, level fund $1, office supplies stay at 200. Postage, we're dropping down to 800. Postage is like abutters, stuff like that, that's for the public hearing stuff. Books, periodicals, gonna level fund 150. Seminars, we're gonna take the 300 we took out of community outreach and put into that to make it 450. We have a couple of big classes we'd like to do next year.
Okay.
Social security will be $1. Systems program staying at 0. Consultant, we haven't heard back from her, but she's not expected to change, so it's gonna stay at 3,000.
What is that for?
We have a legal consultant for the board, she sits on every meeting, so she kinda keeps track of where the state stuff is, updates some house bills that affect planning and zoning. And she kinda give us, the legal side of it and everything like that.
A lot more than that.
Yeah, she really is, and she'll tell us, too, like, she writes up some of our notice of decisions for us, so we don't have to sit there and figure out, she writes up for us, we go through it,
Yeah.
really invaluable. It's basically someone just sitting there for you, knows everything, and she's got probably 40 years experience, something like that.
I could use somebody like that for the CDA.
Yeah.
And then travel reimbursement, this is for doing seminars next year, took the 200 out of postage, put it into there at 225. Workers' comp's gonna be $1, so budget should stay the same dollar-wise, just shift it around.
Any questions in general or on any line for the planning board? Looking for a motion then from someone? Motion from Matt, second from Tara. All those in favor?
The question.
Aye.
Probably cheaper than-
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention.
Until next time.
You got Kyle, you did any, warrant articles coming, projects
No,
besides?
I don't think, we're hoping that the grant writer will be able to solve anything with the dams, so other than paying the grant writer, hopefully the town doesn't have to fork anything. And we're really hoping we can just start getting grants, try to do it every year, if, you know, the dams qualified. Same time, we don't wanna wait too long. Fortunately, this town, as we know, is everyone's busy, so some stuff gets pushed aside until too late.
Thank you. Get out.
I'm not going with all the girls, I'm staying here.
And now the Steve BA.
Okay. I'll do your line by line.
Yes, sir. Clerk, still Abby?
Yeah. Still provided by select.
Don't leave.
Advertising, you guys, there's certain things you legally have to advertise, right? Like notice in the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. Legal, $1. Office supplies going down, is that just based on historicals?
Yeah. Which didn't end up on here. It's strange.
There's no.
Oh, just, okay. Sorry. Yeah, we went down there.
Postage,
Postage is level funded. This postage line is tough. If we had a busy year, we could blow through it.
Right.
But it's all paid for by the applicants.
right, we just don't see the revenue side.
So it's
They're
like
in
you were
out,
saying,
yeah.
it's in and out. And we did, last year or something like that, we pegged it to actual cost, so we don't have to go in and keep updating it for the postal rate.
Oh, smart. Publications, books, periodicals, looks like level funded.
Yeah.
Is it, you guys only spend $70 every year? Or
Yeah, we
just-
got a new set of RSAs, applicable RSAs, the book for all members.
So it should just be $70, or is it other stuff you can buy?
I think they change it every so often too,
Just get, yeah.
like
it doesn't
8 or
increase.
10 years or something like that.
Because
Yeah.
there's, 436 people in Concord who have nothing better to do with their days than screw around with the laws.
Okay.
And they don't make big changes, they make little changes, but then that has ripple effects. And
For
they
everything.
have no idea the impact it has on day-to-day operations.
At a certain point, you'd think they could just take a year off.
They used to. Technically, all you have to do is come in, make a budget, and say, this is where we're done.
Yeah.
But because it's not, you know, they wanna make a political statement and show you all the cool stuff they've done, so they fix things.
Even though most of it's not cool.
Whose definition of cool?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So, I'm just saying.
Alright, Sarah wants to go home.
Okay.
Moving on. Social Security, $1, level funded. Training, doesn't look like you spend out of it all?
No, we're
Is that
talking about
planned? What's that?
We were looking at maybe a seminar this year.
Okay, so there'll be a seminar. And workers' comp, $1.
$1, that's it.
Any questions?
We went down.
We went
Yeah,
down,
went
we went
down
down $150.
That's beautiful.
Still the smallest budget.
Doing your part. And you went down.
And we went down.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Jamie to tentatively approve,
Okay, Deb gets it.
second from Deb.
I just snapped it, that's why.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention, Abby.
No, I'm not counting it.
Doesn't count, yeah.
It just doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
It's not yet.
Voices
I'm
opinion.
offended,
Confusing me.
that's my job.
Alright,
Alright, year-to-date budget versus actual. Jeremy, that's what you gave me over here.
I don't have.
yeah, none of the rest.
Yeah, when we did last week, so I didn't know if we're gonna do it every week.
I think we usually do
There's
this.
a lot of paper.
Yeah.
It is.
Good job, Jeremy. Just email
Once a
it.
month.
We'll email
Yeah,
it.
if you wanna just email it out.
Yeah.
and people can
Then we
make
can
their own
just
notes.
James, we should just flag that. Flag
Yeah, we just look at the
worst
big,
offenders.
we just look at the wrong numbers. So who's up next?
Is there anything from the selectman's office or the town administrator's office?
All is well.
Okay, gonna hold you to that.
For now.
Any public comments? Alan, this is when you can go crazy.
Yeah.
So when did the water and sewer rates stop going up?
So the plan as of right now is not to
Because they've
increase
gone up,
until.
what, 47%, and they're gonna go up again?
No, it's a little bit of
How much have they gone up?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I figured it out one way. Ben said 26% at the hearing, and the way I figured it was 2%. It's probably, it kind of depends upon where you are and what you were paying before.
So where's the cap?
I don't think there is a cap.
Yeah.
There better be a cap, because this town's gonna go broke.
So the discussions that we've had at the meetings is the next time that we plan to probably do an increase would be the last quarter. We'd do it like in the winter of 25 to take effect.
We're not a
January
wealthy
1st.
town is what I'm getting at.
Well, what the selectmen were told by Ben at the
Gotta treat the food.
budget hearing was, when they met with us last week, is that they expected to raise rates at the end of the second quarter of next year. And they anticipated having a hearing in the first quarter of next year. That was, so if they're.
Are you talking 26, cause next year's 25?
I'm talking about 25.
Okay, okay.
That's what Ben told us at the selectmen's meeting last week. Because they're still not quite breaking even.
Oh, I know. It's a train wreck.
Wow. It's exact, I pay as much as, I just sent Abby $10,000 of water bills, so
It's getting to the point where you're better off to go back to having a leach field,
or a well.
or a well.
But here's the thing, the problem is, because of everything you just said, which is all true, the water rents were not raised for decades.
Oh, I know.
If they had raised if the water rents had been raised, this is my personal opinion, if water rents had been raised in a consistent manner, a little bit at a time over the years,
Sure.
you would never have been behind, and you would have a reserve account. And what they did, and you correct me if I'm wrong in this, Adam, but they did have a reserve account, and they burnt up the reserve account to subsidize keeping the rates low. And what that does is it makes, everybody budgets based on something. And if your water bill goes from being $150 a quarter to $600 a quarter, that's a wake up.
Well, the simplest fact of the matter is, would you run your household the same way?
Well, you
And you
could,
would not.
unless you're
I'll
on,
offer that there's a water commission meeting on Thursday, and that's a better place to bring all this stuff up than the budget.
Okay. Thanks for telling me that. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
so it starts at 6 then.
So you're allowed to talk, but just not in this apparently.
You said talk, so I did.
Are there any other general budget things that anybody wants to go over? Alan's got a housekeeping thing up here.
Two of them actually.
Two.
Matt, your term is expiring in March. So, time to start thinking about reenlisting is now. Have you thought about it?
I have thought about it.
If you don't wanna share,
I've been stretched a bit thin lately,
okay,
so I,
plenty of time. Okay, but if you decide not to, please let us know so we can start it through.
okay.
The only other thing is, Alan, I need to get your cell phone
Yeah.
and email.
I don't think you heard you.
Oh, he was talking.
I need your cell phone and email.
Cell phone.
Why?
Go to secretary.
Okay.
Keep track
So
of
you can
everybody.
be contacted.
Not the physical cell phone.
he's gonna ask you out on a date.
No, I didn't mean the physical cell phone.
That's where I draw the line.
Anything else?
Not that kind of guy there, buddy.
Nope, alright, meeting adjourned 7:20.
When's our next one?
Good job.
The 18th.
November 18th.
So do you think there's something in the selectmen's office that says what priority each?
I had it in my hand,
November 18th.
so.
I know I've seen the engineering stuff.
Is that all we need?
I've looked at the folder you sent me, and I couldn't find it in there. A lot of stuff
There
like
was-
2012.
Probably no, it wasn't that old, cause I wasn't here then.
Well, what